We got this email, rad@radradio.com. It's from Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Not Danny from Tech to You, which is ironic because Ian from Tech to You, as promised, is in the studio with us.
Hello.
But Danny, had this story. Says, last week my mother-in-law was having issues accessing important documents and her laptop was freezing up. I myself have 2 left thumbs when it comes to computers. Imagine a caveman with a club beating a laptop for making a beeping noise. That would be me. So Tech to You, here I come. I spoke to Will, and I can't say enough nice things about him. Very polite, well-spoken, and explained the process extremely well.
Oh.
Even used small words that my underdeveloped 8th brain could understand. I explained to Will the issues with the laptop and that my mother-in-law is being audited and needed tax documents off the laptop. The conversation with Will started about 2 p.m. He stated that he would work on it till 8 p.m. and finish it up tomorrow, and all I could think is, now that's dedication. Will explained a couple of virus concerns, old Windows editions, and other things, and when all was said and done, it's running like new. Because of you guys, we have your trusted partnerships we can turn to when we need help. And though Tech to You gets all the credit, I will be the hero when I explain it to my mother-in-law.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's so cool.
So you got any questions about anything tech, whether it's your basic, can you get these photos off of my phone, all the way to something more advanced, email us, rad@radradio.com. Phone number is 888-989-9811. Since the Big Tech to You family is so big, we can't ever have you on without asking you, where are we with Circles with an S, the social media positivity app?
Yeah, it's funny. Every time Rad comes up, it's like, but what's going on with Circles? I appreciate it. We do a lot of things, but thank you for that. It's going so well. The biggest thing is that anybody who has invested, you should be getting notifications through WeFunder about updates that we put there. John just put an update there last night. See, it either showed up last night or this morning. So anybody who's wondering, hey, what's the status? What's going on? Please go to your WeFunder account, log in, check those updates, because we keep you updated there. And the best, I'll say, I'll let you go there and read the update. It's great, but it is going very, very well, and I'm excited for those people that are about to get access to it. And it looks amazing. It looks so cool. Danny and John every morning are in this meeting, and it goes half the day, all day, and they keep on plugging away and making iterations. And we'll be in the middle of a meeting. I think, in fact, in our most recent board meeting, we were halfway through the meeting, and John goes, "Oh, I just got another update. We're going to go ahead and look at this one." It's just constant changes and iterations. And
he's basically they're on their laptops talking to all of the various developing team right across the world, and watching in real time we did at the last board meeting. We saw the leaps and bounds that Circles has come. It's nothing like what it was.
Yeah.
So fast. The graphics are amazing. All the stuff we've added.
It helped to understand that the initial version was a beta version, right? It was the early version. It's like, hey, let's prove the concept and then let's build it right. Now you can see what we're talking about.
All right. Every time we have you on, I swear to God, we get emails about VPNs.
Oh, sure.
What is a VPN?
So VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. In short.
Oh, yeah. I was asking for all the idiots.
Oh, yeah. I know you know.
I swear to God, before you're going, I don't know if I've ever prepped for a segment longer than I prepped this morning, trying to understand everything that we have to talk about. Or trying to understand what do I need to ask you to dumb down, because I'm not the most technically literate guy, but I'm not an idiot. And I was like 30 minutes into, it never takes me that long to prep a segment. I'm like, God damn it.
It's like a foreign language.
And it's moving so fast. So I'm sorry.
No, while we're on a segue, I'll tell you that you ask a question about VPN. We have a test whenever we employ a new person or interview a new person at Tech to You, and there's this huge list of abbreviations. and it's not a pass or fail test, but it gives us an idea of what they know. And it's such an intimidating list. It used to be, I think, like 60, and now we've narrowed it down to the more important, 30. But it's so funny because that we deal in abbreviations all day, and it's not really by choice. This is kind of what the industry has created. So VPN, Virtual Private Network, the easiest way to describe it is it makes it look like, to anybody that you're visiting their website, it makes it look like you're somewhere else. So if I'm at home and I'm logging into Netflix, I get to see the United States version of Netflix. And if I turn on my VPN, I can say I'm in England. And then I get to see that different version.
Why is that helpful?
That's helpful for things like content that's unique to United States and Netflix. But where it's really helpful is I don't want my internet provider to know what I'm doing on the internet. I don't want my boss to know that I'm on Facebook because I'm privatizing all of my internet traffic through this different path. So all you can see is that I'm on a connection, but you can't see what I'm doing. You can't see where my traffic is going. It's just a way to add additional layer of security to your internet experience.
All right, so Anthony's specific question was, can you recommend a good VPN, and is it worth even getting one?
They've evolved a lot. I would say yes. I use one. I use it at certain times. Like, let's say, for example, I have my laptop. I'm in a hotel or a coffee shop, and I'm connecting to their Wi-Fi. I have absolutely no idea what they're doing on their network to try to monitor my activity. I don't know who else is in their network. I turn on a VPN. My internet connection is essentially locked down. It's secured. I would recommend that you look at what's within your price range. I personally have used one called Private Internet Access, or PIA, for a long time. It's a ton of debate in the tech community of what's good and what's not, and who's actually private and who isn't. It works well for my uses. I recommend that you research, or if you have specific questions, feel free to email us or call us. Just go to tech2u.com.
So if let's say you're at the airport and you're going to use their
Wi-Fi.
So if you let's say you opened your bank. Your bank's not protecting you because you're on someone else's Wi-Fi?
So you have a secure connection to your bank site, and there is sort of this digital lock that happens on both ends there, and it's generally going to be safe. And especially at an airport, also pretty good because most airports provide, we could just think of it as like isolation between you and their network, so other people can't interfere.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that there's not bad actors trying to bypass that, or that there's not people that even manage the network at that airport that have bad intentions.
But your bank, you would hope, is doing
your bank is doing their
right?
job.
Okay.
But a VPN in that instance would still be beneficial.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I am, Ian, familiar with the whole proxy thing because growing up, we used to have laptops in school.
Yep.
So we would use proxy websites to go through Facebook and be able to access it because it was they wouldn't allow us to do it. So is proxy and VPNs the same?
Very similar. So what he's talking about is there used to be this website you could go to. It's like proxyme.com or something like that. And basically it's this shell where you're on a website that loads websites. And so that way you can just go to this one page and then you can go to whatever internet site you want. But most internet providers and companies that do any IT have gotten smart and realized that you can block those very easily.
IT, there's another abbreviation. And then here's another one. What the hell is NAS?
A NAS. Okay, so network attached storage device.
Right, I know that.
He knows right away.
Of course. That would be a device that you put on your network where you store things like large files.
Okay, Dimitri says, last time Tech2U was on, I was researching NAS, or NAS, for my home, and some other maggot emailed them, and Tech2U had a few suggestions. I purchased one of them they suggested, and I am very pleased. It's been working great. By the way, I got the Buffalo.
Nice. Yeah, Buffalo's
What?
a brand.
It's a brand of NAS?
Brand of
I'm
NAS,
so
yeah.
confused.
You got this.
Have you ever had anyone on that list you talked about of abbreviations just make up something?
Oh yeah.
funny?
Yeah, I hire people like that all the time. That's the best. if you can't have a little bit of a sense of humor
Yeah.
and how ridiculous some of our questions are, it's gonna be a hard road.
I want to know why the same spelled word is pronounced NAS in the tech world, but Nas by Little Nas X.
It could be my misunderstanding.
Like we said, everything from the basic all the way up to AI here with Ian from Tech2U. Joyce says, my desktop computer will not completely boot up. It gets as far as the spinning dotted circle, and that's it. What could be the problem?
Boy, anything. Yeah, so we do free diagnostics, and you can bring it in. We'll diagnose it for free in our office. You can call us. We do free diagnostics remotely. The general answer to that question is it could be hardware, it could be software, it could be something as simple as a Windows update that didn't install correctly that we roll back.
In that example, though, can you remotely get into her computer and do it while she's at home?
In a lot of cases, yes, because we'll walk her through something that sort of bypasses that failure and gets us to this like simple state of Windows to let us connect.
My go-to always used to be with that. turn it down.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Get a new one.
Turn it off. Let it rest for a second. Turn it back on. It'll all be
I
good.
really can't understate that. Actually, so many people call us and we can't connect, and we say, okay, go ahead and restart it. We're going to try it, and then it's working.
It's fine.
Restart your computer. If it doesn't work, please just do that first. Yeah.
So we'll work our way up to, and again, any questions you got, email us, rad@radradio.com or 888-989-9811. But now we'll get closer to a big concern for a lot of people, scams. April says, I am suddenly getting a lot of malicious email in my spam folder, and while I delete everything, I'm getting 100 a day, and I want to know, how can I keep the music room even coming, I don't know what she meant to say there, into my spam folder. Basically, you know what it is. I've seen this before. We're sudden, why am I getting hundreds of these things a week?
There are filters that you can add to whoever you're using, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever. There are ways to increase the filter that you have that routes spam to the right place. We can help you with that. Another thing that's noteworthy is that sometimes your email address gets leaked on this list where you'll just get blasted with so much spam from things that you didn't expect. I hate to say it, but in a lot of cases, having multiple email addresses is a very good idea. Like, for example, I would use one just for my banking, and it's annoying that I have to track these different email addresses, but then I never have to worry about spam to that email address unless, Chase, Bank of America, whatever, they get hacked, which is such a rare thing.
But still not as annoying as having your bank account hacked or your account
Yeah,
stolen.
not just that, but then I have my internet or my email address that I just give to anybody, or I sign up for some free website, and it's just kind of my junk email address. It's a really good practice. It's annoying. It's a little bit of an extra thing. You put one email address or extra email address in your phone, but it is such good practice just to simplify things for reduction of spam and better security.
Speaking of spam, what is there any things in place with Tech to You, or are there any ideas on how to get rid of, I don't know if it's really spam or not, but when you get your credit pulled, you get a bunch of people calling you after your credit's pulled from other creditors, in a sense, or mortgage companies that want to give you a lower rate, and your phone gets blown up and your email gets blown up. How do you get rid of all those?
Not perfectly my area of expertise, but I know that there are credit locks that you can pay for, which will limit visibility to the things that you do with running your credit. But the best I could say is the Experian app is the one that I've had the most experience with, and there are things you can do in that app to sort of create some additional privacy there. That said, if you apply for a loan, especially for a house, and if you buy a house, that information's public, so you're going to get spammed with those kinds of things no matter what. So that's where mitigation comes in, which is multiple email addresses, if you can handle that, and it's not overly complicated, and then also just good spam filters. But getting into the scams, that's really where a lot of scams come from. Is if I just recently bought a house, and
Congrats.
anybody, thank you. And so for anybody who has purchased one, that your mortgage can get just sold off.
That's right.
And it's one of the most annoying things. And so, I've got my mortgage from my bank that I expected, and then 2 months after I buy this house, it gets sold. And then 6 months after that, it's sold again. And I don't know why, but I'm getting these letters in the mail, and I have to wonder, you're telling me that you want me to send you my mortgage payments?
Right.
I don't know that that's legitimate. And that is the type of question, and I hate that it has come to this, but that's the question everybody should be asking. Whenever you get a letter, an email, a text, a phone call even, and we'll talk about that, you have to doubt it. It's authenticity.
I keep getting, twice in the last 2 weeks, and the weird thing about it is, within a couple hours of being on Amazon, I get the text that says my Amazon account has been frozen, and you got to click on here, and I know it's fake.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you see it, and if you don't have an Ian in your life, or if you're not tech savvy, you go, oh my God, I was just on Amazon, they froze my account, and pretty soon you're locked into a possible identity theft.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I love the way you said that. If you don't have an Ian in your life, everybody can have an Ian in their life. And for the low price of free, you can call Tech to You. If you get one of those text messages or an email or something, we're not going to charge you to tell you whether or not it's legitimate. Just please don't try to go down the rabbit hole. Call us. We'll tell you for free.
Now, I don't know if this is... So this was just my experience. I have no idea if this is would actually works all the time for everyone. When Kyle, when you were saying all the phone calls, someone in our life, I noticed that the more that person answered the phone calls and wasn't going to give them any information, but still would talk to them, the more they would call and the more people would call.
Yep.
And the minute they stopped doing that, just didn't answer the calls, and maybe you want to listen to the voicemail, fine, whatever, but just didn't answer, erase, less and less and less, and they just kind of teetered off. But I felt like, well, if you keep answering, they know you're going to answer.
Yeah, and that one example, that's not anecdotal at all. I mean, that is how it works.
Okay.
And there's a lot of really great YouTubers and streamers that kind of attack these call centers. They trick them. They kind of waste their time. They do what they can to try to get these people shut down. But there's plenty of information and insight as to exactly how they work. And if you answer the phone and you sound older, and you sound wealthy, and you, whatever it is, all of the little things that you can think of that might be of value to them, they notate that stuff and they will keep calling you.
Yeah, I think it's so, if you have anyone elderly in your life, because even if they have stuff going on, they get bored, they want to be on the phone, and they're from a generation that's so trusting.
Yeah.
Well, if someone says they're from here, they have to be.
Well, they're also from a generation that answers the phone. Kenny wrote in, speaking of, and said, the past few weeks I've been getting calls from people in my contacts. The calls come in at or around 6 a.m., and the people calling me are with me. And I show them, and they say I'm being scammed. I had it happen today during a meeting. I showed my coworker. I asked him, why is he calling me? He said, my phone's in my truck. It's not me. What is going on? I've never had this happen before.
That's dangerous. Yeah,
Oh,
that's called it's called spoofing, number spoofing.
damn.
So I can. Okay, I shouldn't say it that way. It is possible for one to text Dawn from Rob's number and say, we don't have a show today. And that's very possible to do. It's tricky. It's very hard to pull off.
Can someone do that because they have access to my number?
No, they don't need that.
They don't even
no.
need to know what the number I would text Dawn from is.
Not necessarily.
Oh
So
my God.
there are situations where it depends on the cell phone provider that you have, the recipient's cell phone provider, and this is a flaw in cell phone company security, because if you are capable of sending a spoofed text message or call, a text is a lot harder to pull off than a call. A spoofed phone number is really easy to do, but then obviously, as we know, if I called Dawn as Rob and she doesn't hear Rob's voice, she's gonna know. Okay, obviously something's off here, right?
But how do they? Okay. So they've obviously gotten a hold of his. You said they haven't got a hold of his number?
No,
because I would
yeah.
not. I know what I have him under. So
Yeah.
that also would pop. Anytime Rob texts me, it's under something.
As long as your
So-
carrier thinks that the number that is calling you is his number, then it'll appear as whatever contact shows up in your phone.
Jesus.
And that's where, that's getting into a little bit higher levels.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as a text is concerned, that's
Right.
harder to do. But a phone number is relatively easy. And I think there's even free tools that do it. But
So this guy that wrote, though, you said that's dangerous. What can he do, or what should he do?
okay, so the dangerous part is, if you answer the phone, right, and it's not your friend and it's not their voice, okay, well then hang up. You got spoofed. I would alert the person who was being spoofed, but more importantly, somebody's after your information or
Right.
your money. If you're being targeted in that way, where you're getting a spoofed phone call or especially a text message, you are currently a target. Somebody is very, very specifically looking to gain access to whatever it is, your social media, your bank account, your something.
See, I can see that, though, turning into something really bad really quickly. If you answer it, you go, who is this? I know this isn't Jim. Stop calling me. And the person on the other end gins that person up to the point where you go, oh, yeah, come get me. I'm at 123 Oakmont Street. Uh-oh, we got an address.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, well, now you know why my generation doesn't answer the phone.
So the spoof text would even come up, maybe even with the person's. You know how some people will have their photo now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
whatever
because
their
your
nickname is underneath it or whatever, it'll show up as that. But
phone will
But
think that it's that
it's that
contact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Now
my
again,
gosh,
a text spoof is a lot harder. Very possible, but a lot harder to pull off. Harder to pull off than a phone. But a phone can be more dangerous now because well, again, taking an example of your guys' lives, your voices are, we have hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of hours of recordings available for the public to use. I only need about 1 minute of talking from one person to replicate that person's voice almost perfectly. And and this is not Ian's technical skill. This is a free website that I can just upload an audio file to, and now I have your voice. And now I get to type out a script. So I spoof a call, I fake a voice.
Jeez.
Now you not only see the caller as Rob, you hear Rob's voice. Now that is it's a lot of work to do it right and to be convincing, but it is being done. And to the extreme, there was a woman who recently thought her daughter was kidnapped because her daughter's voice was on the phone pleading, crying for help. I've been kidnapped. And then these people say, pay this much in ransom. And her daughter's like on vacation.
That we talked about that one. She was actually upstairs at home with Dad.
She was, yeah.
And the wife was or scared enough, call Dad, husband.
That's right. Yeah.
Because the girl's screaming. I need help, and he said no. She's here,
Yeah.
but that could have gone really bad really quickly.
Yeah, and there's been more instances of this because as these AI tools, and you can call it an AI tool. The reality is it's like a voice emulation tool that uses some basic level of AI technology to get good at it. It can pick up on little things, intonation and tone and pitch and how we speak, and the more it can isolate the unique parts of somebody's voice through samples, the better it gets at reproducing it. And that to me is scary because now I can already, I've always had that backup. If I get a call from a number that I recognize but it's not the voice, well, I don't have to worry too much. I like, okay, somebody's doing something, but it's not but now I have to be concerned. Am I getting a call from a person that I actually know? Is it my mom or is it my mom's voice and somebody spoofing her number?
All right, we got a mom that has a question, speaking of. Says, I am reaching out because I made what I feel is a terrible mistake a few years ago. I bought my crotch goblins their first phones, and I had to create their Google emails. At the time, I blamed being a working and very tired mama. I created their emails at the phone store with starting text using their first name, last name, birth date. Yes, I know I was not a smart woman at the time and was only thinking of what I could remember easily since I knew they would ask me constantly about the info. Recently, I've been really paranoid for my kids because now they are teens with apps, and this email is what they are used for. Listening to the different segments with Tech to You, I have been paranoid, and when my paranoia was at a high, I helped them create new Google emails that they can use for apps and kept the initial email only for their phone backup. My question is, did I screw my kids up and make them a prime target for fraud and all the bad things that can happen using your info on the internet, and how do I fix it?
No, because your kids are a sample of 99% of Americans. They're no more a target based off of the way that you've structured things than the average person does. And in fact, you've already taken wonderful steps to mitigate concerns just by having a backup email address, by having a secondary email address that's a little bit more secure, isolating uses for certain functions. It's very, very smart.
Now, speaking of Google, though, they also have issued a warning to customers about a new scam. We've always talked about how realistic some of these emails can look. You really believe it's Bank of America because sometimes you don't notice America is spelled with a K, and there's nothing else different. Apparently now, people that use Google, which is millions, billions, are getting emails claiming that they're part of the online reward program. It says, congratulations, you are the lucky Google user. And every 10 millionth search, the person gets a prize. And then, of course, there is no prize. What they do is it's a way for hackers to retrieve information. They ask you some questions to claim your gift. But this was a big enough deal that Google put this out just the other day.
Yeah, and this is actually it's funny because it's just a mixture of basic social engineering, so tricking somebody into thinking that they're getting something legitimate, and a really common technical scam, sort of phishing. So you present somebody with a fake Wells Fargo website, a fake, in this case, Google login page. So you send them a link, it opens up a website. Like, it wouldn't be hard for us, our development team, to make a fake Google page, right? And then we have a little login script, and you type in your username and password, and now I have it.
Hello there, Layla. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I was I actually got scammed and gave money to a company that I thought was Microsoft. My computer locked up one day and said that I needed to call Microsoft to have it unlocked. and not to touch any of my other keys on the keyboard. So I did, allowed the company to make alleged repairs to my computer, gave them an electronic check, and then went to tech to you after the fact, unfortunately, and learned that it was a scam. So I stopped paying on the check, and I'm wondering if that can affect my credit if it was a true scam.
That's a great question. Affecting your credit would have would have one very specific implication, which is that they gained access to something like, let's say, your social security number, and then things that would be like common security questions, previous addresses you've lived, things that a credit bureau would know about you. The person would have to fake your identity and then attempt to get like a loan in your name. That's the way it would affect your credit. That's the most likely. So it's a stretch. Also, that's not their goal. It's not to say that they wouldn't do that kind of thing, but their goal is easy money and